the green light, so we will get going. The mission statement for the Lake Mills Area School District is preparing all of today's students for tomorrow's opportunities. Has the meeting been properly posted?
Yes, it was posted on the LMASD website and at the Lake Mills Post Office and submitted to the Lake Mills Leader.
All right, with that, then we will call this meeting to order. For all those who are able, please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. I request a roll call for attendance.
Brianna Beslick. Here. Ken Eimers.
Here.
Andrea Graham. Here. Kirk Lund.
Here.
Amy Litcher.
Here. To the board members, are there any revisions to the proposed agenda?
So I'll move the board approve the agenda as presented.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any discussions? Hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Eimers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Brianna Beslick. Aye. Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to board reports. We have Michaela with the student report.
Hi, so we've got soccer, golf, track, and baseball all going right now. So for soccer, I'm actually managing soccer this year, and they're doing great. It's super fun watching them. They're doing really, really good this year. They just had a quad last weekend, and they won their 2 games, so that was exciting. Tomorrow they have a game versus Janesville at home, which is the 16th. And then golf had a meet at home today at the golf course. And then track has a meet at Lakeside tomorrow. So that'll be exciting. I used to do track, and I remember running against Lakeside, and we were always like so ready to go because it's Lakeside, and we like to win against them. So it's always some good competition with them. And then baseball has a game away versus Watertown Luther Prep today, and then tomorrow they have a game at home versus Poynette. And for, spring play. The spring play was last weekend, which I unfortunately didn't get the chance to see, but I heard it was really great. It was called the Great All-American Musical Disaster. Miss Stilling, the librarian, was telling everyone how amazing they did, so I'm assuming it went super, super well. It sounded like it went really great. And then going back a little bit, spring break we had, that was very exciting. I heard a lot of different vacations people went on. It was very exciting to hear about everyone's different adventures. Myself, I went to California to visit my sister. It was my first time traveling alone, so that was nerve-wracking, but it was a really great experience. So yep, the past month hasn't been too crazy, but that's about what we've got going on. Thank you.
And I'm assuming you finished your portfolio for graduation?
I did, yes. We also had our exit interviews with our portfolios, and that was a super great experience. I was a little nervous about it, but it went super good. I feel like everyone did really great. It was super simple, really easy conversation. Just had to sit down, like, talk about what we kind of made. It was really nice to kind of sit down and like see everything I did throughout high school, so that was really cool.
All right, thank you. I went to the Friday night performance, and I would say 100% kudos to all the students, front of the curtain and back of the curtain, and also the adults and student directors. I thought it was phenomenal. So thank you, thank you. All right, moving on to the administrative reports.
Yes, I'd like to start out by introducing Mrs. Kaylee Spiegel, who is our high school English teacher. She has with her a group of high school students, along with Nate Olson, our social studies teacher at the high school. They attended the Youth Unity Summit, and I'm going to let them share that experience with you.
All right, you can slide, please. I'm Kaylee Spiegel, high school English teacher. We're here tonight to share our experiences, like Mrs. Olson said, about the Youth Unity Summit from this past February when we attended that. It took place at McFarland High School this year. First, I'd like to give a brief overview of the organization called We Are Many United Against Hate, who are the ones that put on this Unity Summit, and really how I first became aware of the good that they do in our state and beyond. So slide, please. Through my professional and personal connections within the school districts across the state, I've heard of different schools creating chapters with this organization and interacting with them. And this last year, I was asked to moderate a panel for them in collaboration with PBS Wisconsin and the Wisconsin Muslim Project. And through this experience, I met Masood Akhtar, who is the founder of We Are Many United Against Hate, who has been recognized locally on the state or with the state government and the national government and the FBI as a notable leader, uniter, and humanitarian. We Are Many United Against Hate, slide please, is a nonpartisan, nonprofit who seeks equal treatment for all by seeking unity and not uniformity, emphasizing that our differences is what makes America strong, not necessarily making sure everybody believes and acts and lives in the same manner. Their goal isn't that everyone agrees, but that they are all free to live, work, and pursue happiness as they choose. Their events focus on teaching forgiveness, promoting peace, and building unity in classrooms and communities. So with that, I will let the students talk about the activities that we participated in that helped us consider how we can help them and ourselves achieve these goals in our school and our community. Slide. One more, please.
So one more slide again. I was really thrilled to be called a student by Dr. Olson, so we'll continue that. But I'm Mr. Olson.
Say that. Oh, I'm sorry.
So I'll just start off before we get into the students. I promise I'll get to talk here in a second. Our first activity was this movie called Stranger at the Gate, which was it's a really deep film about a former U.S. Military veteran who, former U.S. military veteran who developed this deep hatred for all Muslims across the world, and as he reintegrated into society, had actually planned a terrorist attack at a mosque in Indiana, and as he enters into the mosque to kind of plan out this his plot, is met with like this overwhelming welcome and love from the people at the mosque, and kind of snaps him out of what he was thinking. And has gone on to join this group and start talking about what it's like to give up hate and to move towards a more passion and unity. And then we were blessed to meet him, Mac, and then Chris Buckley, who was a former KKK member. And they talked about how their lives changed through this hate and how that went. And I'll just share my key takeaway from this was this idea that Chris Buckley was a drug addict, and the reason he joined the KKK was not through the hate that they spread, but because they shared love with him and gave him food and shelter and a change of clothes for his kids, and then indoctrinated him into hate. And as he's left that, he could see the error in that. But my key takeaway was that after talking to them and listening to students ask wonderful questions, like Trish and Hunter both got the mic to ask questions and the summit, that even the hateful groups win with love first. So with that, we'll pass it along to Sam's next.
Hi, I'm Sam Witt, and I'm a junior at Lake Mills. One of the activities we did was a post-it note activity where we walked around to different posters that exposed us to hate crimes and other discriminatory instances around Wisconsin that many may have not been aware of. Then we were instructed to write one-word answers to different prompts, many asking what was lacking in these situations, on a post-it note. Later, the words were transferred onto a poster, which is the one that we brought today. This poster represents the values that we want to promote in our community. Next, we have Jack.
All right, hello. Our third activity was a self-identity web. So part of Unity is coming together through our differences. So it's important to understand your identity, internal and external, to see the importance of our individuality and differences in unity with each other. So we did this through an identity web with prompts and reflection questions to show who we are to ourselves, who we are to others, and what about our and others' identities influences us and others the most. And next we have Ramneet.
Hi, I'm Ramneet. I'll be closing out the activities today with challenging conversations. During this exercise, we were tasked with navigating challenging scenarios where maybe we didn't have the same perspective as the others, with the goal of finding common ground. The challenge was clear: engage without resorting to the word but. Our approach was deliberate. First activity was to listen and validate their emotions. Then ask if they are open to us sharing our opinions. This activity showed us the importance of conversations over arguments, highlighting the necessity of genuinely listening and knowing if the other person is willing and able to hold the conversation without getting hurt. Next slide, please.
Next slide, please. All right, one of my takeaways occurred during the last activity where we learned how to make an argument in a respectful and open-minded manner. We learned how to use different wording during these arguments, and specifically, we learned how to avoid verbiage like you all, you people, that group, and language used to stereotype specific groups of people. Before then, I hadn't really thought about how language can affect an argument in the person that you're arguing with, and I just thought that it was really interesting to hear about.
Okay, I'm back. My biggest takeaway was when Masood Akhtar shared a powerful anecdote about a presentation he did to just a 5th grade class. He brought in a Muslim man and asked the class what they saw. Shockingly, one student blurted out, "terrorist." But as Masood Akhtar continued his presentation, shedding light on the man's humility and humanity, views began to change. By the end of the presentation, the same student remarked, "He's just like us."
Hi, I'm Hunter Davies. My biggest takeaway was being able to connect with other people who are just as invested in advocating and using their diverse voices, which is very refreshing, especially seeing all the different levels people were at. Some of them didn't necessarily know how to go about it, and they were really invested in learning and everything. So I just thought that that was really amazing.
Hi, my name is Patricia Winter, and one of my biggest takeaways is love is way more impactful than hate. When talking to the former KKK member, he mentions that hate drew everyone away from him. Further, love allowed him to get out of his cycle of hate and showed him how impactful love really is.
Hi, I'm Ricardo Martinez, and I'm a freshman, and one of my key takeaways is awareness of hate in the world. Before the Unity Summit, I just thought of hate. It's just in our world, it's what are we gonna do about it? It's there's people that aren't gonna change from it. So from this, it really opened my eyes on seeing how far people will go with hate nowadays. For example, Chris Buckley joining the KKK, or almost a bombing in the Stranger of the Gate movie we watched. But I feel like this event really helped me open my eyes on hate in our world today.
Hi, I'm Aliana Lopez, and I'm a freshman at the high school. And one of my key takeaways is that both of them stated that the hardest part about having this hate inside of them was that they they could see all of their family members and their loved ones being driven away and not feeling safe or comfortable with them. And that stood out to me because I feel like having that hate inside of you can always just make yourself feel even more lonely when you realize that others also see that hate inside of you. And that's just one thing that I thought of.
So Angel Flores is a junior. He wasn't able to make it today, but his main takeaway was about actually the moderator who was originally on the panel that I hosted last year. And so she was just an amazing speaker. She's a senior at Madison West. And Kamala Harris was actually invited to give a welcoming statement and because she has recognized Masood Akhtar in the past and wanted to be involved in it. And so she wrote a letter because she was unable to attend for legislating purposes. And so she wrote a letter, and Lila, she really used her voice in a powerful way, talking about the conflict right now in the Middle East, in Gaza, and how she didn't feel like honoring Vice President Harris's letter in a way that highlighted, her message about everything that they're doing to, or encouraging us at the summit, right? Because she felt like the government's actions were not congruent with the message in the letter. So just having a senior in high school be able to state that to a room of people with differing ideas really struck Angel as a pretty powerful and advanced skill for, a 17 or 18-year-old girl to be able to do.
All right, I am Jack Neath, and a major takeaway for me, Sam kind of talked about it already, was the healthy argument section. I feel like a lot of large and small scale disagreements and misunderstandings root problem is improper communication and unhealthy arguments. So learning how to properly discuss topics that can be difficult showed me how important it is to properly communicate and how that can solve problems before they escalate.
So I think after listening and going, I shared my personal, as Nate Olson, but as Mr. Olson, the teacher, I really came away with these guys and students are ready to have conversations like these and the difficult conversations and to be united in all sorts of ways, but not uniform. And I think personally, that was my biggest takeaway, was the side conversations we had as a group, or listening to the senior from Madison West be able to speak out and watch these guys interact with other students from other places. So that was my biggest takeaway as a teacher.
Slide. After going to the summit, we are hoping to start a club at the high school surrounding the idea of being united against hate, where anyone is welcome to join. While attending the summit, we got insight from other schools on what they did for their clubs. So, in the future, we would hope to have group discussions on how we can better unite other cultures and beliefs. We would also hope to talk to other clubs from different schools to further these important discussions, whether it is in person or online, and gain more ideas as to positive events we could hold. The club would be known as Lake Mills United to empathize our main goal of unity.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much. Are there any questions from board members?
Well, I just first wanted to thank all of you for sharing your thoughts on this. It's really nice to hear, and it's such a great concept. So I appreciate that, and you did a wonderful job on the presentations. Is the Unity Summit that you attended, is that something that's going to occur each year in the future? Or?
This was the first one, but they plan to do it every year. Actually, my uncle, who was a former superintendent and principal in the state, he's one of the school liaisons. So the plan is to keep having it. I don't know, Chris Buckley and Mac are definitely a part of this, and they've joined like the council of We Are Many United Against Hate. So what that looks like, I'm not sure. I don't know if it'll continue to be held at McFarland High School or not. But as of now, I know that they're planning to continue it in the future. I guess my goal is to hopefully get more kids involved in it. My initial goal bringing these kids to it was not necessarily to start a chapter unless it was facilitated by them. I just wanted to expose them to the idea, and I didn't even mention the fact that it could be a chapter. And they were the ones that kind of brought that up as they saw other schools doing it and talking about it. So that was really encouraging.
Sure. Well, thank you.
Others?
Go ahead.
I was just going to say that I think, listening to the senior portfolio is like, we say kids, but these are young adults, right? And the insight that they have at this age is just very impressive. And this is very similar to some of the sessions that I sat in for WASB, where kids are just, this is what they want, right? And they're just so smart in that forward thinking of making the world united in general. And so I appreciate that. How did you come across this group? Were there kids that volunteered, or how did that come to be?
I actually asked some of their teachers. Initially, I had posed it to Mr. Vogel about just the opportunity, and I wanted to open it up to as many kids as we could, afford to go. It's free, but with the bus and the van and everything like that. So we were given, you could bring 10 people. I like to have another adult there with me to see if they were interested in it as well. So I asked Mr. Olson. But yeah, recommendations from their teachers. And then, I couldn't invite everybody. So just the ones, I tried to get a diverse group from as many different perspectives. And 2 from every grade. I teach every junior, so I got 3 from that grade because I knew them the most. And then I invited Hunter Davies as our senior because I know through her research paper that we do junior year and the career fair that we put on, that she was really invested in this. So I wanted to see if it was a potential to keep moving the bar forward and maybe creating a chapter if they were interested in it, and knowing that these kids would be around for next year was kind of the thought process with that.
I'd just like to commend all of you for having the courage to have these conversations and to gain insights and grow. I think it's really important for our world and our relationships, and gives me hope. So thank you.
Thank you. Any others? All right. Well, thank you so much.
Thank you.
You bet. All right.
All right. It is always nice to showcase our students. I mean, I agree, they're doing wonderful things. And our teachers too. I just really did provide them that opportunities. And I think this, I'm going to call up Leslie Myers about the trips. And it is, I'm just going to preface that with, you see a lot of teachers in the audience, and just really the amount of time that they take of their personal time to make sure that our students have these opportunities is just phenomenal. So Leslie, we'll have you come up and share your ideas about a combined French-Spanish trip.
Hi, yes, okay, this should be good. I'll just start by introducing myself. I don't think I've met our board yet. I'm Leslie Myers. I'm the new Spanish teacher, so I teach at the middle school and the high school. I teach some of your kids, so so yes, this is our proposed trip for June 2025. I've got a lot of the information in there as well as we have it, so I'll just start off with our goals of travel. This is a proposed combined trip between the Spanish department and the French department, so Ms. Russell is here as well, but I'm going to be taking the lead on this, so we can both answer any questions, but I'm sure I'll be able to do it. So just starting with our goals of travel, our department hopes by offering this travel opportunity that our students will be able to authentically experience and interact with cultures that they have learned about in the classroom. So
Out of our 5 standards for world language, the 5th one is global competence, and we have a lot of conversations about how we bring this into the classroom in a really authentic way. So, I mean, this is definitely a big thing to do that. There's obviously small things we can do on a daily basis, but it's also really nice to offer them this opportunity to really experience, really interact, and really use their language and cultural skills in the real world with real speakers and things of that nature. So the idea is to put these skills to use, and doing it in a joint trip will be able to give us the chance to do 2 language skills at youth, which language teachers, the more the better, so we love polyglots. All right, so our proposed trip is for June of 2025. Our ideal timeline would be right around a week or 2 within the school year ending, just so all of our student brains are still in the school mode. I think that would be a little more of a seamless transition to do that. We're not obviously very preliminary steps, but just to get an idea. June 2025, and our goal is to go to, oh my gosh, sorry, I got too close, Spain and France, to be able to immerse ourselves in 2 cultures. So our idea is doing this, so obviously, I mean, we have a couple of special exceptions. I know at least one that is enrolled in both languages, but most of our students are either in one language or the other. So definitely as we prepare for this trip, along with the things like preparing world travelers, we would also prepare them in their language skills for both languages. So obviously they are going to be pretty good working on, you know, they'll probably be through Spanish 1 or 2, French 1 or 2, but then we also want to give them a mini lesson in the other language so they can be their best global citizens and have their greetings, have their farewells, have all of their politeness done in the language of the country that we're in. That's something that's definitely important and is another layer of giving them that global competence. So thank you. Who's ever doing the slides? So good. So I'm just going to go a little bit over our trip itinerary. We are going to have a 10-day trip. The first and 10th day will be travel days. So that first day, we will leave out of Chicago O'Hare Airport and fly into Madrid Barajas Airport. We chose, I guess I should backtrack a little bit. We explored many options, many companies. I looked at probably a bajillion itineraries, and this was the one. There was some customizing options. There was some set in stone plans. Between all of them, there was some homestay. So after looking at all those, after getting the students just really preliminary opinions and things like that, we decided collaboratively that this would be the best trip because the students would see the most, experience with the culture the most in a way that would make them feel also excited and comfortable. So sorry, now I'll go back to this. So we will fly into Madrid Airport. The company CETA that we're working with provides, and I'll have some logistics in there later, but just as a preliminary, they provide the transportation. So within the price is the plane ticket, transportation from the airport to the city. It's about 25 minutes by car into the city. So day 2, we will officially arrive in Madrid. So we'll take a late night, day 1 flight in to get there. We will have a local guide for that first day, and they will take us to the plaza. So the Plaza de Sol is the center of Madrid, the center of the city. So that's where all the hustle and bustle is happening. But I really like this itinerary, really did, because it gives them a free afternoon, a good time to acclimate and settle in. For some of our travelers, this will be the first time out of the country, maybe the first big trip ever. So it's definitely good to have that comfortable start. We really like that. The third day, we'll do Madrid. We'll go to the Royal Palace and the Art Museum. In Spanish 2, they study Picasso's masterpiece Guernica. So it's definitely, I think, I can definitely speak on my curriculum that a lot of this we touch on. I'm sure that they do in French as well. When I took my beginning French, we definitely did. So yes, that'll be something that the kids will hopefully be very excited to see. We'll do dinner at a local restaurant. And then the next day we'll go to Toledo, which is a little city, very picturesque city, about 45 minutes outside of the city of Madrid. And we will go there by bus. That will be also part of the transportation. And then we'll spend the day in the city. Our 5th day, we will go to El Prado, the other art museum. So La Reina Sofia, the first one, is the modern art museum. The Prado is the classical art museum, so they get to see both sides from there. Then we'll visit Retiro Park. I definitely always say this is like the central park of Madrid, very beautiful, plopped right in the middle of a city, but you feel like you're in the forest, kind of. So that's a really great place to do. And then we will go to Santiago Bernabeu Stadium. That's where Real Madrid Football Club plays, and possibly enter, depending on their student interests. So lots of art. So we'll try to do some sports too, try to make it well-rounded. I wanted to just add some pictures in so we could kind of put ourselves in the place. Our top left picture is the Palacio Real, the Royal Palace in Madrid. It is very cool because it's a working palace. The royals do live there half of the year. We're lucky in the summer, they do not. So you get to see the palace. You can tour the palace if they're not there. If they're there, obviously you can't. But so, I mean, for a lot of these students, the first time I'd ever went to a real palace was in Madrid, and it's really amazing to be able to be in a royal palace, and one that's actually working is an awesome opportunity. The picture on the top right is Toledo, the city that we'll be going to. The bottom left is the Puerta del Sol, the center of the city. Well, they'll be arriving first. And then the bottom right is Guernica, Picasso's masterpiece, and the Reina Sofia that my kids learn about. It's very abstract. So next slide, please. This is the trip continuing. I'm sorry if I butcher any of the French. I should be able to get it pretty good. So on our 6th day, we head to Paris. So that is definitely doable by train, but we'll take a flight. We'll land at Charles de Gaulle. We'll visit the Ile de la Cité. We'll see the Sainte-Chapelle and the Notre Dame. If you know, the Notre Dame did burn down, had a fire, but they are reopening in December of this year. So by next year, we would have the opportunity to view the Notre Dame, which is very lucky timing. The 7th day, we will do a tour around Paris, visit the Eiffel Tower, and have dinner in a creperie. The 8th day, we'll go to the Palace of Versailles, explore the palace, the gardens, and the surrounding areas, and then we'll have a little free time in the city. The students really expressed that it would be really fun and important to them to have some structured free time in the city to just explore around a little bit. It definitely makes it feel like you're authentically there and not just following around somebody with a flag, right? So our 9th day, we'll visit the Louvre, the Tuileries Gardens, the Champs-Élysées, the Arc de Triomphe to view the city. I think undoubtedly the Arc de Triomphe is the best view of the city. If you go up in the Eiffel Tower, it's gorgeous, but you don't get to see the Eiffel Tower, which is the nicest thing to look at. Then we'll finish the day with a cruise on the river. That'll be an evening one, so we can see, if you've been to Paris, we can see the Eiffel Tower sparkle. And then on the 10th day, we will go back to Charles de Gaulle and head back to O'Hare from there. So sorry, I know I went really into it, but so the top left is Versailles, the right is Sainte-Chapelle, the Eiffel Tower, the Arc de Triomphe, and just, that won't probably be the creperie that we go to, but I thought that was a cute picture. And I think it does a good job of representing the whimsical look that Paris definitely has. So next slide, please. Thank you. So the logistics of the trip, it's 43-29 with 12 to 14 students. Our ratio is 1-6, so one chaperone gets a paid trip per 6 students going. So our goal, our bottom line would be to have 12 students go, so Miss Russell and I can go on the trip together. And obviously, it's our combined trip. So the cost, that number includes airfare, hotel stay, breakfast and dinner, local transportation, and tickets for our excursions. So things like our airport transportation and our transportation to Toledo, to Versailles, things like that. They set us up with metro tickets as well. So that's very fun that the kids get to learn the metro. Thankfully, we're very well versed in that. I studied abroad in Madrid, and Miss Russell did in Paris. So we both nailed the cities in a good way. The trip will last 10 days, as we saw, in and out of Chicago O'Hare. And like I mentioned earlier, our departure date, our ideal one would be within a week or two of school ending. CETA will provide us with promotional materials, scholarship opportunities, optional travel insurance, and departure materials. So we got all those preliminary documents sent to y'all. If we move forward with the trip, we would get more to students, set up meetings with parents and stuff, and they are a really amazing, really thorough company. So they'll definitely have all of our T's crossed and I's dotted. We feel lucky to be working with them. So again, if and when the trip gets approved, I will be organizing multiple fundraising opportunities at the start of next school year. I know this is a very expensive trip, and it can in some ways exclude students with that, so I want to help A, ease any parental burden, and B, being able to open this opportunity to as many students as possible, because I know this is going to be a really awesome, impactful trip, and we're so excited to offer this to everybody. Hopefully we can get as much as we can, but obviously there are some limitations when it comes to such a big trip like this, financial, safety, and otherwise. So thank you for your time. If you have any questions, obviously I'm right here right now. Ms. Russell is as well, but if anything else comes up for anybody, our emails are on there. We're on the website. I'm extension 370 if you're within the district. Ring me up. So yeah.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions?
Just a comment, I have to admit, when I saw the PowerPoint, I felt like I wanted to go myself. So looks like it's a very nicely organized trip.
Yeah, thank you for organizing this. I mean, even though you would be a chaperone and hopefully getting your trip paid for, it's a lot of time and effort to organize it and communicate with the families and all that. So we appreciate your time, and I'm hoping a lot of students can attend.
I think too, looking back on my high school years, our exchange program was one of my highlights. So I think you're exactly right. This is going to be an amazing opportunity for the kids that can go and things that they will remember forever. So thank you for organizing it.
Thank you. Do you have any idea of how many, like, have you pitched it to the kids yet?
Yeah, so when we were really preliminary talking, I came into this school year really excited about the idea of a trip. I just came from 2 years living and teaching English in Valencia, Spain, and I studied abroad while I was in my undergrad, so this is like a cause I'm passionate about, I could say. I think that international travel obviously is an invaluable part of education. And so I definitely went into the school year really wanting to do one. I felt really lucky that Ms. Russell wanted to do a combined trip with me. We can maximize the learning and the cultural competence that way. And so I definitely came in with that. This needs to be the trip of a lifetime. This needs to hit all the marks. If this is the one time these students go to Europe or go on a big trip like that, I want them to see all the art and architecture and experience the things like palaces that we don't have, and really authentically experience the cities. But that was my point of view. So I really wanted to get the students' point of view, because also my point of view was I thought it would be super awesome to stay with host families. After I, had the conversations of what if, and proposed that, and we were a little lukewarm on the host family front, I'll say. And so we were like, okay, maybe in the future that can be an awesome opportunity, but right now, as we're getting back in, we haven't traveled as a department since 2019, so as we're getting back into the swing of travel, I think, kind of bend to the kids a little bit in that way, whatever is most comfortable for them as we do, a comfortably uncomfortable thing of traveling. So we started off on that we knew we wanted to do hotel stays, and then just talking with them, just getting some information, some opinions to structure the trip, and then kind of putting some feelers out there. The students definitely, I had some relay to their parents. I had a parent at conference say to me, is this trip happening? And I'm like, oh, we're really preliminary, we don't know. And they're like, where can we put the deposit down? Our kid is going. And I was like, okay, so it's not a thing yet. I was really preliminary and stuff. So it definitely, the students seem really excited, but they're not the final decision makers. But we definitely made this trip with tons of student feedback. Ms. Russell had previous feedback from parents that June 2025 would be the most desirable time for travel. So we kept that in mind. And then, kind of worked with the students in a roundabout way to try to pick a trip that would be the most interesting. Maybe some of them wouldn't pick to go to the Prado. They're not that interested in Renaissance art, but you got to fill in those gaps somewhere. So we were really excited about this. The very preliminary feedback that we have from the students, they feel excited and ready and wanting to travel. So I think we'll be good. Hopefully we'll get our 12. At least.
Super. All right. Anything else? All right, hearing none, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys. Thanks.
All right.
If you've ever watched Leslie teach in her classroom, that's exactly how she teaches. She's always happy, bubbly, very engaging with students, so you just got a little preview. So thank you. And finally, just want to, it's a little after the fact, but our first board meeting after the election, and want to congratulate Ken and Brianna for their reelection to the school board. Thank you again for another 3 years of service to the Lake Mills Area School District. We're glad to have you back.
Thank you.
All right, then we're on to the next section of community input, and we have 2 people signed up. I am terrible with last names for the first time, so I'm just going to give you initial, because I think you know who you are. So I'm going to call up Judy C., and I'll have you introduce yourself and give your address, and it will, we take comments of 3 minutes, and you can use all of that or up to, so. Oh, got it. Could you come to the microphone? And your name and address. Thank you.
Judy Coverly, and 408 West Lake Street. I wanted to speak to you because I was concerned with what was going on with the senior center. It is now not funded by the school board at all, I guess. And we've lost the person that was employed by the school board. And she is now no longer with the senior center. I'm not speaking about anything that's happening with her position. I just want to say that I am upset with the fact that the senior center, run only by volunteers, is going to fail. Our rent is, I know, more than was in the school, in the church basement. And I don't believe that the volunteers are going to make it work. I don't think they're going to be able to do it. And we need help from the city. The city should be doing something for the senior citizens. It's not, for me, I have not lived here that long, 7 years. I found the senior center because I needed to find friends. Other seniors need more. They're dealing with catastrophic illnesses. They're dealing with a loss of a spouse. These are all things that they have to learn how to deal with. I just want to make sure that you know that I feel that way, and I think a lot of seniors feel very insecure with what's going on. And that's all.
Okay, thank you. Ashley L.
Amy, I wonder if it would be appropriate to correct the fact that the school district is still funding Club 55. I think that's maybe an error that is out there. So I guess if it's okay, if I just want to take just a second to clarify that the goal was only to operate Club 55 for 2 weeks with volunteers as a new plan is coming forth, but the school district is still very much funding Club 55 and plans to continue to do so, and is going to be asked to take possible action tonight on that plan.
Thank you. All right, Ashley, thank you.
So my name is Ashley Lair. I 390 Wakeman Circle. I am both a parent and an employee of the school district. I am here today to ask you to consider splitting the 4th grade class back into 6 sections. They were in 6 sections until 2nd grade, and then the last 2 years they've been in 5. My daughter is in 4th grade, and I truly want what's best for her and her classmates. My daughter has come home and has expressed that the class is too loud, too disruptive. She's having a hard time focusing and learning in such an environment. She was having issues with some bullies for the last 2 years that went unnoticed, and that's nothing against the teachers. I feel like classroom management is pretty near impossible with 25 kids in each class. Our strategic pillars are pushing for 22 students in an elementary school. Our 5th grade is taught in an elementary school model and uses elementary school curriculum. With that in mind, I would assume that they would fit into that same 18 to 22 student range. As part of the CAT team, I learned a lot about capacity levels. The EUA did a facility assessment, and the max capacity was 22 students for our elementary school model. The functional capacity was 90% of that max capacity. So as you all probably remember, max capacity and functional capacity are different. And at 90% of the max capacity, in this case being 22 students, their class sizes should be 19 to 20 students. And that is well over the 25 is well over their max and functional capacity. And I also would like to mention that smaller class sizes will help them with all the new things that they'll be going on next year. New school, new routines, new reading curriculum. This is only their 2nd year of the new math curriculum. And let's be real, puberty is going to come on strong in 5th grade, and they could use all the help they could get. My hope is that smaller class sizes will also help with the COVID gaps. Many students have fallen behind, and smaller class sizes would help close those gaps academically, socially, and emotionally. Smaller class sizes would allow teachers to create better relationships with students and better address social and emotional needs. As an employee, I would suggest that using the 5th grade science room as the 6th section of 5th grade, this would help the 5th grade reclaim the wing so it is all its own and prevent 5th graders from being exposed to 6th, 7th, and 8th grade behaviors. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to speak in front of you today. I appreciate your consideration in this matter. Thank you.
Thank you. All right, then that's all the people that signed up on the sheet. And moving on, we will move to the consent agenda. All right. On this month's consent agenda, it includes the approval of the following: March 18th regular meeting minutes, March 21 special meeting minutes, April 8th Facility and Finance Personnel Committee proceedings, March's treasurer's report and vouchers and invoices, and the personnel report. Is there any items listed there that would like to be taken off and discussed as a separate action item? Okay, hearing none.
I move the board approve the consent agenda and waive the February 1st retirement notice date as stated in the personnel report as presented.
Second?
I'll second.
Oh, okay. It's been moved and seconded. Are there any discussions? Questions? All right, hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to our action items. Professional staff pay increase. The board is considering raises for the professional staff for this upcoming 2024-2025 school year. I'll turn it over to
I don't know
Tasha.
if you wanted me to add anything in addition. So yes, the board's being asked to consider the raises of CPI came in at 4.12% this year. So that was costed throughout the professional compensation schedule as is attached here. So that adds a $1,155 to each cell in the professional teaching staff wage schedule.
I'm not sure if anyone saw, there was a study that just came out about Wisconsin and us losing teachers. And, you know, within 6 years of teachers beginning their careers, many of them are leaving the field. We also have, you know, I mean, I have a colleague that's 20 years in, she's leaving the field this year. It's a very, very stressful environment. a lot of teachers are feeling unsupported since COVID, a lot of increase in student behavior, emotional issues. And so I just feel like as a board, the least we can do is provide cost of living. And so I'm really proud of us for putting that out there for the staff. And thank you, Tasha and Tanya, for doing your magic with budgets. And I know it's not easy, but I think people are the most important part of our organization, not the curriculums, not the the books we're buying, things like that. It's the people working with our kids. So I think it's very, very important, and I'm proud of our school district.
Okay. Thank you. Okay. Then I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move the board approve the professional compensation schedule pay increases as presented.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to the support staff pay increases, as reflected in Tasha.
In addition to the professional staff pay increases, we have our support staff pay increases as well. And we are adding that 4.12% as CPI is to each category of support staff. So this, the attached is the new wages for each of those categories. And then in addition to that, I'm proposing a second shift differential to be raised from our 20 cents to up to 50 cents for this upcoming school year, for the 24-25 school year.
Okay. Is there any, I'll ask for a motion and then we can discuss.
I'll move the board approve this, sorry, go ahead. Okay, I'll move the board approve the support staff wage schedule pay increases as presented.
Second.
Okay, it's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions, discussion?
I was just to say, like Andrea said from the previous action item, I think this is a category that we still continue to look at and make sure that we are matching not only the schools around us, but then potentially looking at some of these positions that you might be able to find outside of a school district, right? And so I would hope that we would then maybe consider even revisiting that shift differential at another time, as we know and heard at our finance personnel meeting that it is different than what other schools offer.
All right, is there any other discussion? All right, hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, CISA 2 contract. This is our annual CISA 2 contract approval, so.
No changes, just same contract that we have each year with the same services that we utilize from CISA 2. We try to minimize the number of services as much as possible to reduce costs with that contract.
Okay. I'll ask for a motion.
I'll move the board approve the CISA 2 contract for the 2024-2025 school year as presented.
I'll second the motion.
Are there any comments or discussion? Okay, hearing none, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, Ford Healthcare School Nursing Services Contract. The board is being asked to renew our annual contract with Fort Healthcare for school nursing services.
I would add to that, just as there is a shortage of teaching staff, we see the same thing in the nursing world as well. So that contract did increase, obviously, as salaries increase and the demand for nursing services increase. We still have two nurses. They are not full-time, as a reminder. They both work 30 hours, and it has provided a very beneficial service to all the students and the staff as well here in the district.
Okay.
I was just going to say too, as I was looking through their, I believe is in the dashboard summary, it was really impressive the amount of time that our school nurses put into the classroom as well and teaching students, but then also certifying and teaching our staff. And if you comparatively looked at the other districts, our numbers were comparative, if not higher, to those other districts. So.
Yeah. All right, then I will ask for a motion.
Well, I'll move the board approve the Fort Healthcare Nursing Services contract for the 2024-2025 school year and the summer school addendum as presented.
Second. All right, it's been moved and seconded. One thing I would add is if we could get a presentation from our nurses sometime throughout the 12-month period.
Usually we do it end of the year.
Okay, got it.
Sometime
I wasn't
in
sure,
July.
yeah. All right, super.
And I was going to ask too, I know I asked about the summer school addendum with that. If that is something we typically do, like is that always set aside or why would we consider building that into the normal contract?
I guess Fort Healthcare has always done
Done
it
it
that way.
separately?
They always do, they meet with us and they decide on what hours they need. I always try to keep it to the same amount of hours. So the nurses usually come in that first week of summer school, make sure, students that have health plans are taken care of and that the staff knows which students are on in their class list that we need to be aware of, especially with the number of students that are doing other, like doing the swimming classes and the biking class and are out and about, that we make sure those health plans are really in place. Otherwise, they are not there on a daily basis like they are during the school year. But I guess we just look always specifically at the summer addendum. I usually don't bring it at the same time as this contract. I usually wait a little bit later, so maybe that's why you're seeing this differently. So usually it's, May or June where it won't be June, but May that I brought it. So they just happen to be hooked together this time.
Is there any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, I will ask a roll call vote on the proposed motion.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, we will move on to the June 2025 Madrid and Paris field trip as was presented earlier in this meeting. So I will ask for a motion.
I move the board approve the June 2025 Madrid and Paris field trip as presented. It is understood that the board will incur no cost and will accept no liability for any funds lost for any reason.
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Any additional discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to the memo of understanding agreement with Rock Lake Activity Center.
I guess I want to start out that we do understand how important the Club 55 Senior Center is to many of the adults in the community. We also realize how important broader community relationships are as far as shared services and being able to deliver those services effectively. We have been, I think, in constant communication with the folks at RLAC and the RLAC board, trying to figure out, since I've been here, so 3.5 years, of what makes the most sense for the Lake Mills community. And so we've been through many iterations of this. Some of that has included the city at the table as well. I think after analyzing what would be for the greater good of the community and our seniors and looking at a collective vision for that programming for the senior center, it makes sense, not only from a financial standpoint, but also from just a broader programming standpoint, that to form this collaboration with RLAC, which means that we would be the funding arm for the community center that would stay in place. However, RLAC and their director would take over direct programming of the senior center activities. It is located there. We currently pay rent for that room. It makes sense to be able to give them a broader ownership, that they can move that senior center beyond just a classroom in in the center, and they have moved beyond that. They've utilized the gym, they've utilized the fitness center. We have not paid for that, but this allows them to continue to expand their programming. I know there's also a vision for taking on healthcare needs, emotional needs of seniors, connecting into the county services more for that. They do need the funding to continue with that, but we do not need to provide necessarily that direct oversight. They have the capacity to be able to do that with this agreement. I guess just to reiterate, our commitment from the school board level in the Club 55 programming is that we did write into the agreement that the school board does have an ex officio seat on the RLAC board, so that we still maintain communication, have input into the programming in Club 55, so we're not just completely handing that over. We will be part of that process. We don't have voting rights on that as an ex officio member, but we definitely will continue our collaboration with that. We also wrote into that agreement, some rights of the Club 55 Advisory Board that will stay intact, that they will have a voice as well into that programming. So we're hoping that this is actually the first step in expanding what we're going to be able to offer to the seniors in the community, but I also think what the seniors can offer to the school district. They've already started to offer their services and volunteering with our students at the elementary school. I know we have high hopes of even expanding that to middle school activities, of building out, that robust reciprocal, I guess, mechanism to really look at a true collaboration instead of us just running a program as part of the rec department.
I will ask if there is discussion for whether it's a change of this motion, we can discuss before we make a motion, if possible, if that's okay with everybody. So, is there any discussion on the proposed memo of understanding?
I just feel this is a good opportunity for us to be able to maintain the senior center, but also not have so much of the day-to-day operations be under the people employed by the school district. I mean, in a roundabout way, the person who's employed by RLAC will be doing that. So it's an arm, like you said, the financial arm. Because I don't want to see the senior center go away. I think someone said at the last meeting that there was 400 emails that went out for the last, mailer for this RC. That's a huge part of our population. And, I see education as from birth till you're a senior, so I'm looking forward to more of a collaboration with the seniors as part of our school district. And darn it, I lost my train of thought.
I'm going to jump in on you. I just want to reiterate something as well, that the senior center does have an account with, so I should say it's part of one of our funds. And a lot of that money was brought over when the senior center was not part of the school district, and they have since raised about another $3,000, so there's close to $13,000 in that fund. That will be moved back over to RLAC and the Club 55 Advisory Board. They will have the discretion over how those funds are used. I think that was one of the hurdles. I mean, as a school district, we are audited, obviously, pretty heavily, and we should be as a public entity, but there's also certain rules as far as how money can be spent and requests for that and how it's allocated. I think because all this money was raised by the center, this gives them a little more autonomy over how that money is used versus jumping through all the hurdles that we have to when there are, when our purchase is made through a school district.
I'm sorry, I remember, I was going to add too, there's a lot of talk about, I wish the city could fund it. Why can't the city of Lake Mills fund it? Their funding coming from the state too is very limited too. Small towns and cities are not in the best shape financially either. And so, if we were going to fund it that way, we'd have to go to referendum. So I feel like we're in a unique situation where we have that Fund 80 that we can utilize to try to provide the best possible services without completely letting go, not having so much financial responsibility and not having to put that on the city who's already struggling as well. So I think this is the best case scenario, and I hope our seniors will be happy with the programming. And again, this is kind of a year-to-year contract too, so I feel like it's always up for, we welcome comments coming to let us know how it's going, things that need to be improved. So we just welcome any comments, email. You can always email the board too if you have concerns about any of the decisions that we're making as well, so.
I was going to say, to piggyback on what you said, I learned a lot about Club 55 from the advisory board that came to our personnel finance meeting, and a lot of things that happened, prior to us living in town. And I think one of the things discussed is, not funded by the city. And a great point was brought up that a lot of our citizens live in the town of Lake Mills. And so when we're able to pull from this fund, we can access all of those seniors, right? And some that wouldn't necessarily be in the city. So it seemed like a smart option to be able to still support, like you said, people who we want to build that cross-generational relationship with and a better community with. I guess some of my questions, going back to like the audit piece, do we have what we need as far as what we are considering laid out in what needs to be line itemed for that audit? I know that was one of the discussions we had at our meeting, if that was specifically noted the way it needed to be.
I mean, we're just audited on Fund 80, and so this really shouldn't be a drastic change from how we're using funds. I guess the broader question would be, have I consulted the Department of Public Instruction on this? I have, to make sure that we are, and many communities do the agreements this way. We gave the example, it's much like our school resource officer agreement. That's another use of Fund 80, where we have an agreement with, the city of Lake Mills and the police department. So it's basically like a shared services agreement for that. But, right, this really shouldn't affect the auditing of the books with this.
And so is the stipend that we're considering going towards that salary per se of that part-time person who is going to oversee Club 55?
So the way the agreement is written, I mean, we are not, I guess, managing how they are using that money specifically, but essentially, yes, it is going for the salaries for that. We wrote the agreement, I don't want to say broadly enough because it is actually a pretty specific agreement, but written in such a way that I think it allows for an expanded collaboration with RLAC if that need comes up in later years. I'll give an example. Menominee Falls School District was just in the news last week. They also run the rec department and the senior center, and they were just, looking at expanded services through Fund 80. And we know Cambridge also has a collaboration over there and uses the dollar amounts, for, the pool services for a lifeguard, so it's not just specified for, a certain person's salary, much like, I guess, so it's really, it's for them to use that money as they see fit, but in our conversations, it was to increase staffing because they would not be able to run Club 55 with their current staffing level, so they do need to increase that.
I like it that, I think the protections are in place for the school district because it's an annual contract, and if something comes up, positive or negative, then we can address it on an annual basis. In addition, that ex officio officer that has eyes on the RLAC board that can protect the school district's interest. So I feel that's a good thing.
I would say another benefit, I think it's been brought up, is just, if you were to spend a day at RLAC, you'd see all different ages of people. And there's really no other place in Lake Mills where you have that kind of situation other than the grocery store. So I think from that perspective, it's one good step towards a true community center. The way this is structured seems to make a lot of sense to me,
Anything else? All right, then I will ask for the proposed motion.
I'll move the board approve the memorandum of understanding agreement with the Rock Lake Activity Center.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
All right, it's been moved and seconded. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, moving on to the middle school gym sanding and refinishing project. This was discussed at the Facilities Committee meeting, and the board is being asked to consider a proposal for sanding and refinishing maintenance project at the middle school gym. This is part of the normal maintenance cycle, so.
I'll move the board approve the proposal from Stalker Sports Floors for the sanding and refinishing maintenance project at the middle school gym, which includes the striping for 6 pickleball courts, yay, for a total cost not to exceed $32,000.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded. Are there any questions or discussion? Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, next up is pavement evaluation services. Nick Beschlich, the Director of Building and Grounds, is asking for the board approval for pavement evaluation services for the district to assist in the evaluation of parking lot pavement and suggested replacement cycle to assist in long-range facility plans.
I move the board approve the
Oh.
proposal. I'm sorry.
You can,
No, go ahead.
I was just wondering, like for the busings, and we usually have like multiple bids. So like with this, was there already multiple bids and you discussed it at facilities meeting, or like how does that work for?
So this roof condition consulting and also the pavement consulting, so these next two line items are pretty specific to these companies and what they offer. So Nick kind of talked through that. That is why this does not come with
Thank you.
these two.
I would just add, I think it's really a great step for the district to do these kind of evaluations on our assets. And what this is really speaking to is a longer plan, a 5 to 10 year plan. And in this particular case, even though you don't think of pavement as an asset, it is an asset, and there's a lot of it out there. So I'm just glad to see this step towards building a longer range plan. This will really be a good.
And I want to clarify, I mean, obviously, we've been working with UA and a facilities assessment that was primarily mechanical, electrical, and plumbing needs, even though they will come in and say, well, this, area of asphalt needs to be replaced, or this piece of roof, but that's not going to provide that long-range planning, like you had noted, where you're looking 5, 10 years out on a regular replacement cycle so that you can budget accordingly. I just wanted to make sure that was known, where, people that are from the CAT facility thinking like, well, you just went through, long-range planning, why wasn't this part of that? But that's why this is a little bit separate from the actual facilities planning.
I move the board approve the proposal from Rupert Milkie for the pavement evaluation services of the district with a total cost of $14,500.
Second?
Been moved and seconded. Any further discussion? Just a note from the Facilities Committee, the middle school, the sanding one that we just approved, this one, and then our next one, the roof, all fall under that $150,000 line item. Is it for Fund what?
Fund 41.
Fund
So this
41
is-
that capital improvement budget for that was approved at the annual meeting.
Yes.
All right. So any further discussion? All right. Hearing none, I will ask for a roll call vote.
Kirk Lund,
Aye.
Brianna Beslick,
Aye.
Ken Imers,
Aye.
Andrea Graham,
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. And now the roofing, Nick asked the board consider approval of roofing consulting services to assist in the objective appraisal of our current roofs and to assist in the long-range facilities planning and budgeting. I'll ask for a motion.
I move the board approve the proposal from Interstate Roof Systems Consultants, Inc. for roof consulting services of the district with a total cost not to exceed $13,825.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion? Oh, go ahead, Ken.
Go ahead. I just wanted to add, again, this is another example of longer-term planning, but I thought what was kind of interesting here is this use of infrared to actually identify things that you wouldn't see visually, even down to wet insulation. So I think this is really, really a good concept.
Any other discussion? All right, it's been, hearing no other discussion, I'll ask for a roll call vote.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. Now we get to move to gifts.
I'll move the board thank our generous donors for their continued support of our students and programs here at the Lake Mills Area School District. The first is a donation to the mill from the Bank of Lake Mills. The following donations go to Club 55, a $200 donation from Mr. George Hamilton, a $300 donation from Mr. Jim Alexander, and a $335 donation/discount from Timber Creek.
I'll second the motion.
It's been moved and seconded, and the the comment always comes up, as well as it continues to will. Amazing community support for the school system. Amazing. So I will ask for a roll call vote.
Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. All right, upcoming board agenda items. We have our organizational meeting, reorganizational meeting next Monday, the April 22nd, at the high school LMC at 4:30. Is that the correct time that we set?
Yeah, we went back and watched the video on that.
Okay. sounds
Yeah,
good.
there was like a 4:30, the earlier the better, and so that's why I asked, because I think I wrote down the earlier the better time, so I've made a note. 4:30.
I discussed with Amy, we'll have a proposal from Joe Schrader as far as the goal-setting meeting that will be coming up in June, so I'll have a document for you, so you can let me know if that's the direction you want to take, or if there's anything you want to change, then he needs to know that so he can start preparing for that meeting in June.
And either in May or June, we'll also have a closed session for the summative session for the review of the administrator contract, or Tanya's contract, so. All right, and then Monday, May 20th, regular meeting, we'll have Michaela's final meeting, recognition of the high school summa cum laude, recognition of staff years of service and retirees, New York music trip presentation, and the general action items, including the middle manager and administrative pay staff increase. All right? Then we will move to executive session.
I'll move the board adjourn to executive session according to Wisconsin State Statute 19.85, parentheses 1, parentheses C, considering employment, promotion, compensation, or performance evaluation data of any public employee over which the governmental body has jurisdiction or exercises responsibility, specifically a teacher resignation, administrator contract, and rec department staff.
Okay. Then we will move to the closed session room of 239.
I need a second, Amy.
Oh, what? Oh,
I'll second the motion.
oh, okay. Sounds good. Been moved and seconded. No.
And a roll call.
And a roll call vote.
Yeah. Brianna Beslick.
Aye.
Ken Imers.
Aye.
Andrea Graham.
Aye.
Kirk Lund.
Aye.
Amy Litcher.
Aye. Now we can move to a closed session in room 239.